All right, we are live here. Let us take a look at June 28th, 2023. Do a top-down approach. All right, so starting off with the yearly, we are still in an imbalance up, perhaps looking for a reaction fast trend off of this 1.5 standard deviation off of volume weighted average price. As you can see here, the most recent key rejection was 44.8075 of this prior developing value area high, so prior first standard deviation of last year. But right now, we don't have anything actionable to take from this. As we move to the quarterly, you can see we've been pulling back. Did get a bullish action on Tuesday, and then this could have been a little pullback, fast trend pullback. So that's at about 4,400. That's going to match up with another thing we're going to look at, but keep that number in mind, 4,400. Here we are on the monthly. As I've been saying, I've been looking for that pullback, and we're getting close to that area of that first standard deviation of the monthly. As you can see, we accepted inside of this developing value area, so I would look for here for a nice little short opportunity. Just patiently waiting, kind of in that area. With this stuff, you think areas, not lines. It doesn't exactly have to be 44.34. It could be a little bit lower. It could be a little bit higher. But this is starting to, get on my radar. And here we have the weekly. The weekly. Man, I've been using this for so long. The weekly is always very, very useful. All right. So we have yesterday, we were out here. So we were before all this action. So last night, when I was taking a look, I wanted to see a pullback to this area. And pre-market, we did have a pullback tested below. Buyers try to bring it back again. Finally bring it up, and then we have a nice imbalance pullback long opportunity here from 44.09 or 44.10. And we could have taken that to the opposite side of value of 44.29, probably one of the better trades of the day. So from 44.09 to 44.30, thereabouts. That's a 21 point trade. So that would have been a really nice one. But let's look to a lower time frame and see how that looks. Oh, first let's take a look at the TPO. So yesterday we had that trend day, and we expected to see some sort of reaction from these single prints. The support structure would, we expected this to be tested. So we opened an A period, open, test the single prints from F period, and we have an open test drive, and it went all the way, surpassing prior day's high, and couldn't quite get to the last week Wednesday's high. But keep an eye on that single print. We're going to revisit that. Also, the composite profile. As you can see in the yellow, I've just highlighted the single prints. So this is the same chart just at the beginning of the single prints to indicate that imbalance. So as you can see, this reacted nicely here, and let's go into a further chart. Composite value area, most recent composite value area, and then we have a composite value area from 613 and 614. In fact, let's fix that. Okay. Now let's look at the RTH chart. So we open and we're kind of bouncing around. We test inside of this value area, and then we come down to test the single prints. And as you can see, we cannot accept outside this value area. This prior DVA, the 613 DVA, we cannot accept below it. We reject. So we have this prior DVA and the single prints. As of right now, this may not be an actionable symbol, But we come up here, we pull back, and we test that again. That's a pretty solid opportunity. The delta is decreasing. Um, as you can see, these are even, but this is a lower low than this. This is a slightly higher low. So you can see that there's some sort of passive buyer here who's absorbing all those aggressive sells into market. So this would have been a nice pullback long. As you can see, we come up here, try to test this area. And then, we're bouncing back. This could have been a little, rotational short, very small scalp. And then we have this right here. As you see, price starts to bottom out and then start to turn. If you didn't get in any of these opportunities, once price, grinds higher, we do have a little reaction over these single prints, but then we come back down and we test this most recent CVA along with the 1 standard deviation of the RTH. So this would have been a very nice long opportunity. Could have taken it to the opposite side of this value. So 44.07 to about 44.19. This is 12 points, minimal risk. Put risk maybe at VWAP or just below this value area. And then, price continues, tries to, pull back into this, unsuccessful. And then on the second pullback attempt, we do get a nice reaction off of the single prints line. So we could have taken that long. And then if you didn't get in there, we do have this opportunity. So we would have been breaking out of this value area. So we have a breakout pullback to 44.19, and 8 points from that would be 27. So you take that to 27. That would have been a nice move. As you can see on the delta, price does turn around. Um, comes back into the value, and we get a big buy, as you can see on the delta. Look at that big buy here. Look at the candle. Not a lot of movement, so they're aggressively trying to buy this to push this higher, but they're not getting anywhere. They attempt again, and then once price starts to go down, this is a decent pullback from the most recent value area high. So we could have taken the short for the full traversal of here, and then maybe the first exit here, and then if we were in 2 contracts, take the second exit here. So the value areas, both value areas were successful today, and we do have a little reaction off the single prints. That's just for little scalps. That's not really the main trade here. Price kind of bounces back and forth. Again, we try to test down here. The 4400 or area is just getting absolutely defended. And, we have kind of a late day, little long here. I probably wouldn't have taken that, just how late in the day it was, but certainly was a decent opportunity. So let's take a look at the ES. So again, same story. All right. So, same story. This area is being defended. We have this pullback. It's at VWAP. I don't love that it's at VWAP for the pullback. Price comes back. This is a pullback to this yellow line. May have taken that trade to 13. Probably would have got stopped out. Then we have this price comes up here. This is a pullback long from 44.19. That was also seen on the regular trading hours chart. And then we have this, return into value, pullback short. And that's, same story that we saw in the RTH, just, ETH as well. And like I saw on the weekly, 44.09. And this is kind of near that 44.09. Um, let's see what time that was. Oh, wait. Oops. Here we are. So that's on the 11 o'clock candle. So let's just go to 11 o'clock. If we can find out where we are. So this pullback would have been right prior to it. So then the next opportunity. So this is where you go long from with the single prints at 44.10. So we have the single prints and the weekly confluence. That's why you take that trade. Again, Hank and Ashy just kind of smooths this out and shows us everything we've been talking about. But let's take a look at the footprint. And well, another thing, we go and look at this is the ETH volume profile from yesterday, and some of these low volume nodes can kind of key us into decent moves. All right, so let's take a look here. Just open that up a little bit. Okay. So along with the single prints, this is basically the single prints with value form. So let's take a look here. So we have a distribution here. So this is kind of the edge of that distribution. So as you can see, that's that initial test, beginning of those single prints. We also have distribution here, low volume node here. And the other side of that, I have a long opportunity. And then I don't really see anything else that I would have liked. So that area, that low volume node area, would have been an area of interest. Yeah. So that was probably about it. Didn't really see anything else I liked. Maybe, yeah, no. Ultimately, with that period, that's kind of where I had my eyes, and that was bullish action. Interesting day, kind of either a normal variation or a B-shaped profile, depending on how you look at it. It looks kind of normal and balanced to me, so that's how I will play it tomorrow. So this is the TPO chart, and let's make a plan for tomorrow. So, oh yeah, we'll take a look at the footprint real quick. All right, so this is today. Did use the footprint a little bit today. So one of the things that keyed me in on this long was, as you can see, as the market opens, there's going to be a lot of buying and selling. So a lot of highlighted shades to this tape. This is kind of where I began to get bullish. Uh, Lots of negative delta here. So a lot of heavy selling. You can see negative 3,000. Very heavy selling. Price comes into this single prints area. This is the value area. So this is the open and this is the close. Price did push down here, but buyers were able to bring it back up. In the next candle, it was a bit of a battle. So they tried to push it down, they tried to push it up, but didn't really get anywhere. And the next footprint, we see, buyers are able to push this up, just one tick, new high a day, but then sellers coming in again, negative 2,000, negative 1,500, negative 2,600. And they really try and, push into here, but We do have a nice taper off, kind of that could be, thought of as seller exhaustion. We go from 1,000 contracts to 600 to, you know, 460 and then 65, and then we have that zero for a completed auction. Because only 65 contracts here, probably would not have gotten filled. So you probably would have had to market order in. We get that new high a day. We test the single prints. We get a lot of absorption. A lot of buyers are really trying to push us higher. Price comes back down. Sellers can't push this below this most recent value area. Buyers step back up, and then buyers, get above this, and the buying continues. Then we have a little bit of an auction, little two-way price action. You know, price, very dark shades. There's aggressive buying. And the, bulls try to take it up here. Sellers bring it down. Very, look at the dark shades. Still auctioning. Buyers pull it up. Sellers bring it back down. This light shades indicate not a lot of business taking place, but we have business at the extremes. We're seeing some active auctioning going on here. And then in this one, we do have that taper off. So we go 400, 141, 95, 6. Only 6 contracts trade here at 1125. And so we have this set up for a little stop run. All these get absorbed. This is the single prints, so you could have taken along here. And then price comes up. We auction, we coil. At this point, I thought we were going to get a decent move in one direction. And then price comes up. Very dark shades. And then bulls, kind of get stuffed here. Incomplete auction is what it is. But then the bears, get selling. As you can see, we exhaustion here. 0 contracts traded on the sell side here, 0 on here. This is a strong sell move. We do get a little bit of pushback, but bears continue to keep pushing down. Back to the weekly. So if you took this long, this is the opposite side of this, the PVAH, so prior value area or prior developing value area high. So that would have been the target, and it's a destination. So I don't know if that was a setup itself, but it would have been a good place to take profit. Oops. So that's where we take profit, and then sellers come in, pull back, try to come back here, and a lot of selling, a lot of buyers getting absorbed here. So could have taken that pullback trade. If not, if you didn't get in here, once this opens, buyers try to push this up, get a lot of absorption at this DVA, so most recent most recent CVA, so composite value area, the most recent composite value area, seeing that dark shade only here, the dark blue shade indicates that these buyers have been absorbed, so then you can take the short. Price comes back down, and then eventually we come and test basically 4,400 again. As you can see, not a lot of contracts are being traded, so not a lot of heavy shades here, so not a lot of interest. And then we, come back. This was an interesting move, 149, 145, and then 0, 0 for both the sell. But then price runs back up. Sellers getting really aggressive here. This could have been a zone to look for a pullback long. So maybe get on an 05 or not. And then that's kind of it for the day. This is just, the close. So a lot of contracts are going to trade at close, but that's kind of been the summary for the session. All right, now we can get to the plan. So quarterly would look for a pullback to 4,400. So looking at 4,400 in the quarterly. In fact, I don't know what we're going to do here. Let's get rid of these single print drawing. Don't need that anymore because we're not going to be using those. So we're going to be watching 4,400 on the quarterly for a pullback long. Yearly, we're still watching 44.81 for potential short. Monthly, looking at 44.34 for a short. And then on the weekly, strong, look above and fail. And this is kind of after hours, and we have tested here. So would like to short 44.30. So this kind of coincides with the monthly 44.30 short. We are, however, this is technically imbalance up, but look for a short or perhaps a pullback here for that kind of opportunity. Monthly is rotational, weekly imbalance up, but we are kind of facing resistance here at 44.30. And based on the profile, so we're kind of balanced in this balance area. So I would look for similar action. Today was it was a balanced day. So opening above today's value area, I would look for us to test 44.23, perhaps breakout, pull back, or return into 44.19 and pull back. If we come up here and I'm not just going to sell this. I'm going to look for some sort of either a breakout pullback or we break out and return pullback. If we open inside of here, I'm going to expect more of the usual, more of the same. So that's going to be balance and, react to these values. And then kind of basically up here, same deal, breakout pullback, return pullback, return pullback. But based on the monthly, I've been watching that 44.34. So that would be about here. So that is point of control for Tuesday. So I would not be surprised to see a reaction to that. So I would say this bear lines in the sand is 44.23. And the bullish line in the sand would be 4,400. And in between those areas, I expect a little bit of an auctioning. So back and forth. All right. So we'll see how tomorrow trades. And we'll kind of go from there.